My name is Ridah Sabouni. I represent Energetics, and today's talk that I'll be delivering is about innovative strategies and solutions for today's smart utility. First of all, before I begin, just a little bit about Energetics. So Energetics is a Washington, D.C. based clean energy consultancy. We've been around for over 35 years. We work in particular with the U.S. Department of Energy. We work closely with them. We also work with a number of states and utilities, such as Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, and Hawaii Electric. So when we talk about the smart utility and the smart city, in terms of a smart grid supporting it, there's a number of different ways to describe this smart grid. First of all, flexible and adaptable, right? Resilient and responsive. Real-time automated communications, dynamic two-way power flow, central and distributed sources, so moving away from just the central generation that we've seen in the past, more towards distributed generation. And so these are the characteristics of this smart grid. Okay, so more prosumers. So prosumers are producers and consumers of energy. And then finally, greater complexity of the smart grid, but greater simplicity to the consumer. So it appears simpler, even though it's actually quite complex. So what are the definition of this kind of a smart grid? I would say it comes really from two different sources. One is innovative strategies, and the other is innovative technologies. The strategies really number many different things, and one of them could be dynamic strategic planning. You need your stakeholder engagement as well to be critical. And then you have new business models, new pricing approaches. In terms of the innovative solutions or technologies, again, there's no crystal ball, right, for all the different technologies that are coming up. But in terms of what I would say might be the things to pay attention to the most, would be these topics that you see. So transactive energy, distributed energy resources, microgrids, electric vehicles, and even now going on into autonomous vehicles. So this talk is basically, I'm going to try to tell the story of innovative strategies and innovative solutions, stressing in particular on dynamic strategic planning and the different technologies that you see here. And I'll basically bring them to examples that we have from our experience in the US and how they might be applicable here in the UAE. So first of all, with dynamic strategic planning, I think this is something that Dr. Rashid has really instilled in SIWA quite well. So our own take on strategic planning is there's a number of aspects to it. So 6 aspects to strategic planning. And I'll just talk about each one because if you have this kind of dynamic strategic planning in place, it helps you to better understand what the technologies that are coming up ahead in the future. So it's not a crystal ball, but it is a mechanism to help you better understand the trends. So starting off is first leadership, right? So strategic planning that is agile helps to build leadership capabilities across the organization. So I think in SIWA, you see this is very nicely done. You have the 25 leaders, you have the Mars, and so you have leadership being built across the organization. So I love that. Now, operations is also very important. You need aligned planning to help to ensure that your long-term goals are lining up with your everyday actions, right? So that's number 2, is operations. Now, of course, you could have all the best planning in the world, but if you're not implementing your projects, you're not going to get anywhere. So project management and project discipline is critical to break down the organization outcomes into clear objectives and actually projects that can be accomplished. Next thing is human capital and change management. So you need participatory strategic planning to ensure that all your staff have the input into the organizational direction and to basically mitigate change risks. So if you get everyone involved in your organization, then that helps to ensure that you'll have a successful outcome. Next thing is stakeholder engagement, right? So stakeholder engagement is critical, starting really with your customer. The customer is your most important stakeholder. You start there. And as long as you're building these partnerships, helps you to identify the relationships, which then addresses your complex problems for any organization. Performance management is the last aspect of this dynamic strategic planning framework. And basically, accountability is the key concept there. So if you hold your organization and your members accountable, then you could basically help to identify and use a number of key performance measures, right? So you have some key metrics to help identify where you are at. So this kind of framework is dynamic and can fit in, and you're always referring to these aspects of the model. Okay, so this is one of the strategies I'll focus on.